Hello, guys. Welcome to ATS Simplify Personal Finance Podcast. Here we talk about personal finance, and you can tune in to get personal finance tips.
Okay, today we're going to be talking about no spend challenge. So, what is no spend challenge? No spend challenge is when you intentionally choose to not spend money over a period of time, whether you're doing it to save more money or you're doing it like a detox. In a sense, you're trying to reset your money habits. I usually do this when I notice, okay, I spent a lot of money now, whether for necessary things or unnecessary things, right? And I want to cash up, whether with my savings or I just want to reset my habits, my spending habits. Because if you have spent a lot of money, whether for necessary things, like if you're living or moving from your apartment to a new apartment, you need to buy certain things. Those expenses are necessary, okay? It's not like you are deciding to just spend unnecessarily. When you're carrying out those expenses, you will spend a lot. And you need to reset your spending, because when you spend, and maybe you're at the beginning you were spending for a good cause, next thing you see yourself spending, next thing you become less sensitive to price, because you give yourself excuse like, oh, it's for the apartment, you have to change this, you have to change that, when you clearly can use certain things, but you keep giving yourself excuses. That's because you have gotten comfortable with spending. That's when you need a detox. This is where no spending challenge comes in. It's a very effective way to detox, from too much spending or from a spending spree. There are different range of no spend challenge. So we have the no spend challenge, where you basically choose to not spend on a specific category over a period of time. So specific category could be one or two wants or one or two unnecessary spending. So it could be maybe eating out or entertainment or subscription. Those are unessential expenses. Those are basically expenses that you don't need. They are not considered to be categorized under the need expenses. Quick pause. If you have ever felt like your money just disappears and you don't know where it goes, you're not alone. That's exactly why I created a free money reset program to help Nigerians take control of their finance step by step. It is simple, practical, and designed for real life. You can join through the link in the description. So you cut off those expenses, those selective or those specific expenses, for a week, for 2 months, for a year, etc. Then we have the broader no spend challenge. This is when you decide to cut off every non-essential, right? The all of the wants category, you're not spending money on it. You're deciding, you're choosing not to spend money on those items or those expenses. And you're doing this over a period of time, whether a year, whether less than a year, 3 months, 2 months, 1 week, even a day. What are the components of no spend challenge? So we have only spending on essentials. Essentials are basically rent, food, transportation, bills, and some people medical bills. Those are essential. So you only spend on essential. 2, time bound. It has to be time bound. Before you start the challenge, you have to state how long you're going to undergo this challenge, whether a week, 2 months, or even 6 months. That's time bound. It has to be goal oriented. A lot of people start the challenge without having a goal. They think the goal is just not to spend, but that's not the goal. The goal probably is to save money. It's probably to detox, and it's probably to pay off debt. That could be the goal. Then number 4 component is you need to have a frugal alternative. A lot of people start without knowing what the frugal alternative is. So frugal alternative is basically alternative to all these expenses, or alternative to entertainment. because there's something about non-essentials. Non-essentials are important in life, right? They're the things that give us joy, the things that make life worth living, the things that, add quality to life. While essentials are the things we need, we can't survive without. Okay, we can't skip out on. You need to find a frugal alternative for non-essentials. So you need to find a way to entertain yourself without it costing you money or maybe costing you little. But best option is it shouldn't cost you money because you're trying not to spend, right? So there are different options. One, you could choose church programs. Okay, before you click off, hear me out. If you're a Christian, not all church programs are about prayers. Not all church programs is praise and worship and preaching or those long sermon. There are church programs that are game nights. I know of game nights. I know of, fun activities where you go to church maybe on a Tuesday, normal days where you're not going to church on the norms. There are programs where you just have activities, usually in youth church. They usually do this. This is where people come, they exchange numbers. You basically do fun games that are entertaining, right? They have the ones of talk shows where they basically, talk about things that are not necessarily religious. They may or may not see it in the religious lens. Those kind of talk shows, you can find them entertaining. Then other that we have college football. This is my personal favorite. I'm done with the uni, but sometimes I do go and watch college football because it's fun to actually watch.
We took a break, though I can tell you thank you for listening so far. And if you like this content, do follow us on Spotify and leave a like. And with that being said, let's continue.
So we also have campus activities. So if you're still in uni, this is something you could totally use to entertain yourself during this period because you really want to entertain yourself. You really want to do something that's enjoyable because during the no spend challenge during this period, you're not going to spend money on entertainment. You're going to reduce your data consumption because data is one of the things that you spend too much money on, right? So people say, oh, data is part of utility. Yeah, some part of data is part of utility, but high percentage of your data usage is basically you wanting to spend a lot more so you can scroll on social media. So you're going to cut off a very huge chunk of your data to, save money and to participate in this no spend challenge. You may not be the kind of person that like going out, so there are other alternatives where you can have fun with your friends indoors. You don't necessarily need to have board games. There are different kind of games you can have on your phone. We have those charades. We literally have those games people play on TikTok. That's fun that you love watching and doom scrolling on. You can actually play with your friends indoors. Then you're the kind of person that actually have much friend or you don't go out. There are other options like creative entertainment or emotional entertainment. Those are my two favorites. Basically, this entertainment is way more fulfilling and enjoying than, consuming entertainment or even worse, paying for entertainment. Not really worse if you can afford to, but it's worse in the case that we're trying to do a no spend challenge. So paying for entertainment is not an option, right? So you have creative entertainment. If you don't already have a hobby, you can start. You need a hobby during this period, okay? Hobby is what's going to entertain you. Okay, you are not paying for Netflix. Okay, you're not going to be scrolling on TikTok. So you need an hobby during this period. An hobby is basically the creative entertainment. So this could be you learning how to sing. This could be you drawing, knitting. Those creative arts are creative entertainment, right? Then we have the emotional entertainment. It could be you journaling. It could be you writing on your diary. All these are emotional entertainment. So they are way more fulfilling because I gotta tell you, when I was still in my 3D creative era, when I was creating 3D, I came across some of my projects that I did, right? They were not the best. They're not the best animation in the world. But whenever I look at it, I'm like, you know what? I created that. I still have that same feeling that I felt when I finished the project, when I saved the project, when I rendered the project. And that was like 2 to 3 years ago, whenever I watch my animation. So when I say creative entertainment can be one of the most entertaining and also free entertainment, I mean, it's like, as someone that usually do this during my no spend challenge, or do it as I love doing things like hobbies, they are very entertaining and fulfilling. Quick pause. If you have ever felt like your money just disappears and you don't know where it goes, you're not alone. That's exactly why I created a free money reset program to help Nigerians take control of their finance step by step. It is simple, practical, and designed for real life. You can join through the link in the description. So recap, a no spend challenge has the component of you not spending on non-essential or spending only on essential. It has to be time bound, so a specific period where you will go on this no spend. Then it has to be goal oriented. You need a goal. The goal is not just to not spend. Okay, the goal is to save. The goal is to detox from excessive spending or from bad money habits. The goal could be paying off debt. Before you go into a no spend challenge, you need to have an alternative or a frugal alternative, which is really important. Before you go, you must have a hobby to entertain yourself during this period. And also, like I said, do not miss out on going on different activities that are absolutely free during this period. It's not always available, but whenever it's available, definitely go and have fun so you don't feel deprived. It's important you have fun. It's important you entertain yourself.
That's it for today's episode. And if you found this helpful, don't just listen and disappear. Over this podcast and leave a comment with your biggest takeaway or question. Sharing this episode with a friend could literally help them make better money decisions. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode of 8s Before Personal Finance.